Hello and welcome back to the IO Sportscast. With me, as always, I've got Ollie. Say hello.
Hi everyone.
And we are back with the British Grand Prix. We took a week or so off due to a mix of technical difficulties and myself moving house. So the sound is going to be a little bit all over the place because I've not quite got the setup sorted yet. But we're here. We're back for Britain, for Silverstone. The fans are back. What a wonderful weekend it's been.
Definitely, it's been a unique weekend for Formula One.
Very
Um,
much so, yeah.
with the different layouts of the sessions,
Mm.
which we would hopefully get to talk about. Sorry. Um, but yeah, overall it was a decent weekend for Formula One. I'm glad that the fans are back as well. That's the main thing.
Oh, I mean,
So,
absolutely. They definitely played their part in the end race.
oh, 100%, 100%.
Well, let's get the important things out of the way. What are you drinking on this absolutely sweltering day?
I have a cup of water with some ice cubes in it, but the ice cubes have melted because it's too
Nice,
hot.
nice.
So it's just water.
I have like an iced coffee drink thing. I've started making them because the last few days have been so hot.
Fair enough.
And proper ice cube trays, like genuine cubes. They're huge. They're
yeah,
not melting anytime soon.
yeah. Fair.
um, right. Normally we do a race score, best driver, worst driver, but there were sort of two races this weekend. So we're gonna do the ratings just for this main Grand Prix, the feature race, Sunday's race,
Yeah,
and then we'll run through the other
I didn't
sessions.
see the other session, so
Oh,
yeah, I've not watched any of it
right.
or anything because I was out
Okay.
partying.
Well,
So yeah,
what's
I'll
your,
leave that up to you.
what's your race rating for today's race then?
Well, I'm going to be biased because obviously it's his home race. We're British, so I'm giving it a 10 out of 10, just because it's a British Grand Prix and it's the birthplace of Formula One. So
Fair
yeah,
enough. I'll play the slightly less biased, more BBC role then. Um, I'm going to give it an, an 8. It was good, but I think had Verstappen been in it, we had a chance of some phenomenal racing up front. Um, let's jump back to Friday.
okay.
Did you see any of that qualifying on Friday?
I saw the I've seen the
You've seen the
highlights of the
highlights.
qualifying. Yes.
Um, I feel like that was a fairly standard bit of qualifying. The lack of practice didn't really affect the results. George still did really well. He's now
Smashed it as per.
Mr. Friday.
Yeah. And he's
um,
still out qualified his teammate in Williams.
yeah, I mean
He's
he's
unbeaten.
really outperforming that car. Um, Lewis and Max have always been relatively close at the top. Max has had the edge over the last few races, but um, at a track like Silverstone, you absolutely could see Lewis winning it.
Can't write him off, it's his home Grand Prix,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. And in one lap pace around Silverstone, that Mercedes under
He's,
Lewis is pretty rapid.
it's
Um,
rapid anyway, but
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
but I mean, at Silverstone, it's a whole
Yeah.
different beast.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And he did it. He pulled it off. And I think like, everyone else was
It was close though.
relatively. Yeah,
For
it was.
Paul.
Yeah. Well, it was. Yeah, for qualifying, it was pretty
Yeah.
close. I mean, admittedly, Lewis did sort of mess up right at the end of that fast lap for the second run. So I think he lost 2 or 3 tenths there.
Ah, right, yeah.
Um, but I mean, even so, if that's the other way around, Lewis is taking advantage over Verstappen there, and Verstappen didn't claw it back this time.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I feel like they were very much set up towards the two races from Red Bull's point of view.
Red Bull.
Yeah, which I think makes sense. Like that's where the big points were being earned, and
Where did Perez qualify in quali? Normal quali.
fifth, I think fifth.
Right, okay.
Um, but yeah, then we got
Do you
onto
do you
Saturday.
prefer? you prefer quali on a Friday or a Saturday?
Well, we're gonna come to that.
Okay.
We get to the Saturday, and we have our sprint qualifying, which
It's a sprint race, wasn't it?
sounds, yeah, I don't really know what the correct term is to use there, because it's not qualifying, it is a race. Like,
But it determined the grid for
yeah,
Sunday.
yeah, but in F2, I mean, you get the sprint race and the feature race. You don't call the sprint race sprint qualifying for the feature race, do you?
No, I think what did they? I think they called it like F1 sprint or something.
Yeah.
Or I think they called it the sprint race.
The sprint, yeah.
Uh,
But it was 17 laps, 100 kilometers, about half an hour's racing, and
was there any pit stops?
no pit stops. Everyone ran. No, there's no most. A lot of the guys. No, for qualifying, they had to run the softs.
Oh, right.
But they had free choice for the other two. Russell ran the medium. Most of the top guys ran the mediums, apart from Bottas, I think. Bottas is literally only reason to run this one that was tactics, which will be a topic we cover, like Bottas being used as a tactical weapon all weekend.
Yep.
But there wasn't really massive changes. Russell went backwards, obviously. It's a race. Alonso had an unbelievable lap one. Again, it's a race. So it's Perez. Perez had a weird incident where he just lost it coming out of the Beckett section, the exit of Chapel to get onto the Hanger Straight. He span off, so that's why he was starting in the pit lane.
Managed to keep it out of the wall though.
Kept it out of the wall, but obviously dropped to the back, and then tactical retirement is what Horner called it, which allowed them to do a load of work on the car and start from the pit lane, which makes sense if you're in Red Bull's position.
Yeah.
Russell and Sainz had a bit of a coming together, which got Russell a 3-place grid penalty for today's race, which I feel in the grand scheme of things is a little harsh when we come to what happened lap 1 today between Max and Lewis. Away from the line, today's race was pretty good. Lewis definitely, I don't think at any point he definitely had the overtake sorted, but he definitely was putting his car in the right place to have a look several times.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I thought he'd done it. Going into Brooklyn, and then Max held it. But it was fantastic racing for 9 turns. And then Lewis down the inside at Copse, and he tried to keep his foot in.
What's your opinion on that accident?
I think it's Lewis's fault. I don't think it's how do I word this? I don't think it was as absolute clear fault as some other incidents we've seen with Lewis in the past couple of seasons, like with Albon in Brazil or something like that.
Yeah.
I think the chance was there. Max left him space, but if you're going to do it down the inside, you need to be tight to that apex, otherwise the penalties are going to come out. If Lewis is tight to that apex and the contact still happens, that's Max's fault for turning in then. Because Lewis then...
And it was the start of the corner, wasn't it? It was like halfway through as they were turning in.
Yeah, he was alongside, but at that point, you need to make the decision to bail or put your foot down. He just didn't bail fast enough, or didn't put his foot down hard enough, and he sort of got caught in that middle position, and there was the contact, and an absolute mammoth slam into the wall for Verstappen.
Not gonna lie, I cheered a little bit.
I mean,
when he's, because I didn't think he was gonna. I thought he was just gonna spin off and like keep it out the wall. But then obviously I saw his tyre come off, and I was like,
you were cheering at the contact, not at the crash into the wall.
Yeah, Yeah, obviously the contact bit. I was like, yes, there's been some contact. This is what we want.
Right. Okay.
But I
I
didn't
thought.
expect. I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't cheer him crashing into the wall. No.
Okay.
Like
That's
when a
what, that's what
contact,
I
I thought, all right,
thought.
I thought Max was gonna a contact. I cheered because I thought Max was just gonna go wide,
Mm.
and then I stopped cheering and I saw his tire coming off. I thought, all right, he's gonna hit the wall here. It's gonna be a big crash.
Yeah, I went
And
through
it
a
was.
roller coaster of emotions of, oh my days, Lewis is going for this, Lewis is going for this. There's been contact all my ways. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap.
Yeah.
That was a big shunt. 51G into the
It's
wall.
mad that the wheel, it's just the tire that came off, wasn't it? One of his tires, the back
Yeah,
tire just came off. It
rear
wasn't the
right.
actual whole wheel itself.
Mm.
Just the tire.
But I mean,
Yeah, it was a massive crash.
considering the speed and the impacts, and I mean, if you saw the car afterwards, that was
Broken.
that is not, none of that is getting raced again this season. It's
Broken.
proper write off.
You won't bang that out with an hammer.
No.
It took them quite a while to move it. Obviously, Max got out of the car. It looked a bit. You could tell he was winded. I think he got a concussion as well. They were saying. So he's in a local hospital.
Yeah, I've not heard anything other than he went for his medical check and he was.
They went to the medical tent thing. Then they took him to the local hospital. But then I think they said he had some kind of concussion or something.
Okay.
Or signs of a concussion.
Well, I mean that's bloody expected for a 51G smash into the wall at what,
into the side as well.
Yeah.
It's sideways as well, so like leg first or backwards. It was sideways.
Yeah, I mean if you can, we watch different coverage. I watch the Channel 4 one because it's the one live race a year they do. And DC was saying like the best way to crash is rearwards because sideways. Of everything behind you, cushioning the impact.
Yeah, you've got most. Yeah, exactly.
And then the next best is on the rear corner, which is how Max went in, because you've still got a bit of a cushion.
Yeah, the worst place is fully the side because you've just got your side pod.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be doing a full front on accident either.
Oh no, not 180 odd miles an hour on cops.
Yeah.
No?
What an what's one of the fastest turns on the calendar? So, you know.
And Lewis only ended up with a cracked wheel rim.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of damage they were fixing on the front wing on the red flag.
Yeah, but they just glued it. So you put some Gorilla Glue on it and it'll be alright.
Yeah, he got away with that relatively lightly. But we had a massive red flag incident, which I think the red flag came out too late. Immediately in my mind when I saw Max go in there, I was like, that's a red flag. And safety car got brought out, fair enough. You know, sometimes it takes 20 seconds for the gravel to clear so you know what the situation is.
I think they couldn't move it because I think the car was still live, so that's why they red flagged it. That and obviously the barrier as well.
The barrier was the big one for me, yeah.
I think the car was still live, that's why they couldn't move it. And
yeah, they ended up getting...
they red flagged it.
They ended up getting some Red Bull engineers out there to help with the car.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if you take away the car, like electrics and stuff, like the barrier itself needed repairing. That's a red flag for that straight away.
Yeah, definitely.
But the safety car did a lapping a bit, and then the red flag got called. Under that safety car, Lewis was like, I've got damage, and the team were like, pit, and then he stayed out. I assume that's because the team must have known
it was going to be a red flag. Yeah.
We had the red flag incident. That took a while. Did take a while to clear up.
Oh, well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, though, what they did was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much almost 3:45 by the time we got restarted. Not bad for a race that started at 3.
No.
Standing start, and we went to the grid, not knowing if Lewis would have a penalty or anything.
It was under investigation.
Still under investigation, and Lewis had really pointed his car left at the restart. He was going.
He was like halfway. He was out of his box. It looked like he was out of his box.
He was going after Charles Leclerc there.
Yeah. Before that, did you hear Christian Horner on the FIA thingy radio? The FIA Red Bull radio.
Yeah.
Saying, it's 100% Hamilton's fault. Well, it wasn't 100% Hamilton's fault. They were side by side. So, yeah, and I think it was Helmut Marko said it should have been a race ban. I was like, it's not that severe.
No, no.
10 seconds is probably justifiable.
I think 10 seconds was a bit light, honestly.
I mean, if you'd have gone to actually aim to hit him, like just fully just ploughed into him, like Senna Prost, then he'd probably got a race ban for it. But because they were racing with each other, then yeah, I don't hit the wall and stuff, but still, yeah. What do you think he should have got?
Um, for me, I'd have given him like a drive-through or like a full 10-second stop-go, so he has to go back into the pits. 10
Right.
seconds for Mercedes is nothing. Like, they're regularly 10 seconds ahead of the rest of the podium, or 4th, 5th. And when you're talking about a championship situation, yes, Max has got more than a race win ahead, but if you're looking at the situation, and the thing is, I'm Lewis Hamilton, I need my opponent to crash this race and not score any points, and I know that I'm 10 seconds ahead of sometimes my teammate.
Yeah.
Gee, that's I'm just going to take him out every race. I'm just going to take the 10 seconds hit. If it's a 10-second stop go, so he's got to come into the pits, do a 10-second stop,
10 seconds.
not do a pit stop, and then go. Yeah, that's more like it.
That's a 28-second loss, that, isn't it?
Yeah, and that
It's mad. It's mad at Silverstone. Yeah, if you go into the pits, you can do a faster lap than if you miss Vale Club. It's obviously on the inside of the track. That's what my Brundle was saying. He says if you come into the pits, I know you're going slower, but you've got less distance to go, so you to the line, so you actually theoretically could do a faster lap.
Yeah, I don't know whether
the pits.
Whether it's because technically where the actual lap line is.
Where the start finish line is.
Yeah,
it's at the start.
Right at the start.
Finish straight.
Yeah, that's a good
you
point.
can come in at the pits, brake at 50, and then just drive around it.
Yeah.
They've got to go through Vale, round through Club, which is a lot longer.
Maybe that's what we need to do for fastest lap next time.
Just drive into the pits.
Anyway, we did find out that Lewis had got that 10-second penalty. Most of the restart was pretty clean. Sainz had a couple of good overtakes. Alonso had contact, I think both starts, one with his teammate in the first one, and then with Ricciardo, I think, in the second.
I saw the one with Ricciardo. I did see the one with Ocon.
Yeah, that was on the first one with Ocon.
Alright. Oh, Vettel spun as well.
Yeah. I was just trying to remember how that happened. I can just remember him being spun. I can't think of who he collided with, but Vettel just didn't have.
I think he spun at Luffield. Oh yeah, coming out of Luffield because he ended up on the old pit entry.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I just can't remember why that happened. But it wasn't a great race for Vettel. He's just always down in the end. I think he had an issue that they retired him for it, but by the end of the race. Really, the battle was Lewis versus Charles Leclerc, and what a drive from Charles, just to try and keep Lewis away for as long as he did, in a Ferrari which doesn't have the pace this season, like to fight for.
It had good pace on them medium tyres though.
He had good pace this race, yeah, but I guess as a package as a whole throughout the season, they're not going to be a top 2 team.
No. He was having issues though, wasn't he? He was having power mapping issues.
That's the other thing, yeah. Engine mapping issues is never a great thing to have, let alone when you're being chased down by a 7-time world champion in arguably one of the fastest, if not the fastest car on the grid, depending on how you see it.
Yeah. He did, but I thought at one point he was going to end up conking out because he kept having the issues, and I thought, are Ferrari going to retire him, or are they going to just take a hit and see where he ends up? But he managed to get through it at the end. after he changed all the settings.
Yeah, that is just how it is sometimes, isn't it? It's feels like Charles is both very unlucky and very lucky sometimes, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's had what now 3 podiums in the last 4 times he's been at Silverstone, so
I think so.
this is now a lucky track for him. Whereas, if this is anywhere else, you're like, oh, okay, he's probably gonna not make this, even though he's got a chance to win it.
Yeah.
Further back, while all this was going on, further back was Perez doing a very early stop, lap 19, to go onto the mediums and just try and nurse them. But even Nurse Checo couldn't do that on a one stop. There's some good battling.
I thought he put the hards on.
He had the hards from the red flag, I think, and then onto the mediums. They were trying to make that last. Lando came in not long after and had an awful pit stop.
Yeah.
It's the right rear was slow.
There was quite a lot of teams that had issues today.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think it was because of the heat and.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things, though, isn't it? If one team starts to have a bad weekend, then suddenly
everyone seems to have a bad weekend.
Yeah, we're going to copy you.
Yeah. We're going to do the longest pit stop.
But yeah, so Lando was, a second and a half, 2 seconds ahead of Bottas going into pit, had a 6-second stop. Yeah. So I was like, well, if Bottas pits and it's a normal stop, that's a 2-second gap he's got coming out. But then he only just made it out in front of Lando, so that must have been a bloody quick lap from Lando.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I think he did go purple in the middle sector, actually, if I remember right.
Wow.
There was a message not long after to Leclerc, which is saying, don't upshift if your engine starts to cut. I think by this point they'd started to figure out what it was, and it was just managing the engine.
Yeah.
Lewis came in, and in the intervening laps, Lando and Bottas were getting awfully close to Lewis's pit window, and given that Bottas had been a tactical person throughout the qualifying and the sprint race, I would have thought that Bottas would have slowed down Lando to keep him out of Lewis's window, but he didn't. He just ploughed on, sped up.
Yeah.
So Lewis actually came out behind Lando because of the penalty.
In 5th place, wasn't it?
But none of that matters because Sainz then went, you know what, I can do one better, and decided to have a 12.3 second stop. Front left, I think it was.
They took multiple attempts to get that wheel on.
Yeah.
3 attempts, I think it took.
I'm not quite sure what happened, whether it's just the wheel wasn't seated right.
I think it just wasn't. I don't know, I think it was seated right. I don't know, actually. I think it was a sticky wheel, not or something.
The reason I say it might not have been seated right was because the guy who put the wheel pushed it back, yes, and then it went, and then it was fine. So I don't know whether it just wasn't seated right first time or what.
Yeah.
But that kind of, I say, kind of ruined Sainz's race. It put him well out of position with everyone else around him. But it doesn't matter because the next lap in, Leclerc came in, smashed the lap. Ferrari had their bad one out of the way.
Yeah.
And then it was quiet for 9 or 10 laps until Perez decided to come in again for some new mediums. The team orders were given to Valtteri to let those through.
He said don't fight, didn't it?
Yeah, don't fight.
And then he said let him through.
And then it was invert the cars and let them through, which is...
Well, yeah, because Hamilton was rapid on them tyres that he was on.
Yeah.
I mean rapid.
Yeah, and Bottas had complained that he was getting blistering and couldn't keep up the pace to the end.
So it was a smart decision.
It was.
I thought Bottas was going to be like, no, see you later, I'm not doing that. But
I think had Lewis not caught Charles, he'd have been on the whistle saying, "Come on, let me get back past." And actually, I think that'd have been fair enough. If I know there's a title fight going on, but like with everything, like Lewis's penalty put him in that position. So had Bottas said, can we swap the cars back at the end? If I was Toto, I'd have been like, yeah, fair enough. Actually, everything you've done this weekend for the sake of 3 points,
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. Lewis absolutely tore Leclerc's times to bits.
Yeah,
It was like a second a lap.
He was like a second a lap quicker, and I was like, they're on the same tyres. Hamilton came in before Leclerc as well, so Leclerc had fresher tyres,
Unbelievable.
and he was taking out like a second to 1.2 seconds per lap, and I was like, where's this come from?
Yeah, I was surprised at how long Lewis kept it up for, and given that he then managed to get by reasonably easy. I mean, I know Leclerc had a little twitch, we'll talk about in a minute, but earlier in the race when Lewis was within that sort of 1.5 second gap, he just couldn't follow Leclerc. He was having to drop back and he was overheating. Now, I don't know whether that was, I know I can now win this race, this is the end of the race, so even if I get past, I can just defend for a lap or two. Whether it was the atmosphere and the crowd pulling him on, who knows.
Probably.
But he kept it up. The gap came down well quick. I mean, we're talking lap 45. I've got the gap at 4.2. By lap 49, it's 1 second.
I know, it was mad.
So it's about a second a lap.
It's like he found an extra. It's like he had 2 Mercedes cars in one Mercedes car. He was going that quick.
Yeah, and then lap 50, end of lap 50, lap 51, somewhere around there, he got past. I can't remember if it's 50 or 51. Yeah, at Cops, and that was a brave move.
Leclerc just went wide.
Well, so here's the thing. So does Leclerc, because Leclerc saw what happened at lap 1 because he was in P3, wasn't he?
He was behind him, wasn't he?
So is Leclerc now bricking himself because he knows he might be in Verstappen's shoes, and tries to give him a little bit of extra space, in doing so then running off?
Yeah, subsequently running wide.
Yeah, I mean, brave of Lewis as well to attempt it again, knowing what happened at the start of the race.
Yeah.
But it was a good move. Leclerc's a little bit unlucky to get the twitch, because I think actually that battle could have held through to Maggots, but
Maggots and Beckett's and then down the hanger straight.
Yeah, I think in Maggots it had been sorted out and Lewis had got through, but it'd been nice to have seen Leclerc hang on and try and fight back.
Definitely. And then he just pulled away. Then he pulled like 2 seconds.
Yeah, straight away.
He was like, alright, cool.
Finished about 4 seconds ahead. But
and then I think it was Bono was like, just keep it off the curbs and just carry on, just bring it home.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows what happened last year.
Yeah.
And
I was like, please don't happen again. Please don't happen again. Please don't happen again.
Yeah. At the same time all that was going on, Checo pitted again and went for fastest lap, and that was about the only thing strategy-wise Red Bull could have done.
He got it though, but he didn't get an extra point because
he wasn't in top 10. But it takes a point away from Lewis.
Yeah.
And it's weird. You would say Perez, if you just said at the start of the season, or at the British Grand Prix, Hamilton's going to crash Verstappen out, Perez in the second Red Bull is going to get fastest lap, but Verstappen will score more points in the weekend, you'd have been like, what? Huh? That's what's happened. He's got
scored 3 points.
3 points in sprint and has scored more points than Perez, who finished.
Do you get point for fastest lap in sprint or not?
I don't think so.
Because Hamilton got it, didn't he? So if he would have done it, it'd have been 3-3-1.
I don't think
3-2-1.
so. No, I think it's just 3-2-1. But Lewis held on. 8th Silverstone win, which is
one of 3 or 4 drivers to win 8 times at one single track. Lewis has got 2.
There's been three times it's happened.
Britain and Melbourne is Lewis.
No, it's not.
Schumacher's.
No, it's not.
It is.
Lewis is Hungary in Britain.
Oh, Hungary in Britain.
And then Michael at the French Grand Prix.
I thought Senna had 8 at one track as well.
No, he's got 6 at Monaco, I think. And while I was looking through these, Not only does it move Hamilton to 99 wins, he's the first driver to do 8 wins at the same Grand Prix in multiple Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And at Spain, when he won at Spain, the last time he won, this year, was his 5th in a row at Spain, which is pretty good. And the only other person who's won 5 races at the same Grand Prix in consecutive years, Ayrton Senna, won 5 at Monaco in a row.
5 in a row at Monaco.
So if Lewis wins at Spain next year, he sets another record.
Jesus Christ, man.
And he likes Spain.
And if he wins at Hungary as well, which he likes Hungary, because obviously he's got 8 wins at Hungary, he'll have the most wins at a single track.
Yeah.
9.
Or again, Britain next year. Who knows? But yeah, so Hamilton 25 points, 99th win, 8th win at Silverstone. Leclerc 18 points. I mean, that's nice. I think he was the highest ranked driver that not had a podium so far this season. Bottas 3rd with 15 points. Norris, Ricciardo, Sainz Alonso.
Keeping up his run of scoring in every race this season.
Yeah, I think Norris doing really well. Ricciardo, Sainz Alonso, Stroll, Ocon, Tsunoda. They're the top 10.
Tsunoda finished P10.
Yeah.
Didn't really see much of it.
Gasly P11, Russell P12, then Giovinazzi, Latifi, Raikkonen, Perez with the fastest lap, and then Mazepin and Schumacher at the back. Vettel obviously got retired, and we all know what happened with Max. Makes things very interesting. So shout out to Matt, who thinks that Verstappen definitely still has this title under wraps because it's now only 8 points difference. Norris.
I'm so happy.
Norris P3, 113 points. Bottas P4, 108. Perez P5, 104.
What's Norris on? Sorry.
113.
And Bottas is on 108.
Yeah, Perez 104.
Oh, Jesus.
That is a nice, tasty battle for third.
I want Lando to finish third.
Oh, I'd love it. If that happened.
If he can continue his thingy of scoring in every race,
it's got to happen.
Points. It's, he will finish third.
Well, it's not guaranteed.
Depending on results.
Yeah.
Obviously, if he finishes top 5 every race from now to the end of the season.
Yeah, there's two little things here that I want to just mention. One, man, that Aston Martin safety car looks nice.
Oh.
And having it back at Britain. Oh, good call.
Oh,
good call.
They should have they should have done what they did to the Aston Martins and put a Union flag on the side of it, because the Aston Martins were repping a Union flag.
Yeah, I think the Aston Martin cars did have a Union Jack on the side. Stroll's definitely did.
Vettel's did as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, they should have put it on the safety car.
Yeah, they should. Yeah. But it's just nice seeing Aston Martin back at Silverstone in a race.
In British racing green as well.
Like I remember the last time it happened. It's just nice to see, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
The other thing we're going to talk about is the sprint qualifying format, and just what we feel are the pros and cons of it.
Yeah.
So,
as I say, I didn't really see much of it, so
well,
this is all down to you, Paul.
Well, going into it, I don't know if we spoke about this on the podcast, but going into when it was first announced, I was saying that Britain's a good place to have it because if it works in Britain, it's going to work pretty much anywhere. If it absolutely fails in Britain, it's not really going to work. Unfortunately, I think it's been left in the middle of. Actually, it's got some plus points. It also has some negative points.
Yeah, when's the next one? Is it Monza?
I think so.
I think they need to try it at Monza, because that's the Temple of Speed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fastest track on the calendar.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I think they needed. It needs some more running. It's definitely not a definite yes, but it's for me. It's also not a definite no.
It's a maybe. I think
got potential.
If it goes well at what do you call it? Monza,
Mm.
then I think it'll be all right.
Yeah. So here's my feelings on it. It has potential, but it's been underwhelming. Um, if we look at other sort of sprint races, Formula 2, for example, you actually have a genuine point system, and it's part of the structure of the championship.
Of the weekend, yeah.
Yeah. So people are wanting to fight for more points. With this, it was 3-2-1 just for the top three, and all those people at the top were just like, "Yo, we've had our battle in the first few laps. Let's not crash now because this ruins the next race on Sunday." So really, the last half of the sprint race was just them cruising around, making sure they didn't crash. Apart from Perez,
I think what they should do is they should revamp the point system and maybe have the top 10, but instead of it being 25, 18, 15, whatever,
yeah,
have it as 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
yeah, I think that might do it. I don't know exactly what the points would be, but something like that, giving more people more points and making it actually worth something.
Or maybe just like top 5 and go at 10, 8, 6.
Yeah,
4,
go
2,
back to the
1,
old top 6 get points, something like that. But 3 points, 2 points, 1 point makes realistically very little difference. And it's just not worth crashing out in. So everyone just backed off a little bit. You've got people like George Russell, the guys who outperform the car on the Saturday, who don't have the pace in the races, are getting punished. He's gone backwards twice. Take the penalty out of the equation. Even if he starts P9 on the Sunday race, he's not finishing P9. He's going backwards. And if there's any shocks in qualifying, people finishing lower than expected. Ricciardo's not been great in qualifying, for example. If he drops out in Q1, by the end of the sprint race, he's had chance to get back up to where he needs to be for the Sunday. So it just sort of neutralises everything.
Yeah.
That qualifying
I
could
think
throw
they should.
up.
Yeah, I think they should do like a top 5 points or a top 10 points. Like I said, either 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They need something.
Or like a 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1 or something.
Yeah, they need something to keep people fighting, and they need. I don't know what the distance needs to be, but it needs to be short enough so that people can't undo their qualifying performance. But also needs to be long enough to actually run.
It should just be 100 kilometers.
That's what it is, yeah.
Each track. Obviously, each track's different, isn't it?
Yeah. The other thing is a lot of people I've spoken to about this don't like the fact now that qualifying's on a Friday evening, because either they've only just finished work, or only just finishing work, or Friday is normally where you meet with friends and go to the pub.
Yeah.
It's a whole extra thing to keep on top of, and this is in Britain, so cut forward to, when Baku, for example, is 3-4 hours ahead of us. Qualifying.
Japan and Australia as well.
Yeah, I mean, most British fans are not going to watch Japan and Australia live anyway, so we can ignore those. But the European audience is the main F1 audience. A race in Baku 3 hours ahead, 4 hours ahead, whatever it is, puts qualifying at 2 p.m, 3 p.m. on a Friday. Okay, local time, that's fine for the fans' local time. They'd have finished work, but for the rest of Europe, we a lot of companies are not going to be like, yeah, okay, you can have it on in the background, you can watch the Formula One. I feel like
exactly.
Long term, that time needs to change. But I don't know when you could run it. You can't run it any later than that without making it a night race, really. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that need to be sorted out, not just on track but off track as well. I think I like the trial. I like us trialing it in 3 places. It brings something different.
3 different tracks as well, yeah.
So it's not just a one-off. It's 3 different tracks, and I think all 3 tracks are slightly different. Different enough, at least. That we can say it's worked or it's not worked by the end of the year. And if the championship is won by 9 points that Max has got, within the sprint qualifying, no one can turn around and say that we shouldn't have had sprint qualifying. They've run it. That's the rules of the championship. It's not like it's a one-off gimmick. They've tried it in multiple places. If he wins all three, then he wins all three. So be it. Whereas if we just ran it once at Britain, and he'd have won it through I don't know, controversial ways, for example.
Yeah.
Then then at the end of it, there might be an asterisk at the end of the season, but at least this way there's not that rule. I will say
exactly.
I feel a little bit for Ross Brawn. He's sort of been lumped with his name behind this, and it's not just him doing the work. There's a lot of people behind the scenes doing the work. And he has got. I'm going to call him a legend. He's a legend of Formula One. He had all his time at Ferrari, taking up a team.
Brawn has
exactly.
Setting up Brawn and winning his first and his debut season, which I don't think many teams have done.
No, and then leading off to what is now Mercedes as well.
Exactly.
And now his initiative work with Formula One. He's done an awful lot for the sport, and I feel like
100%.
He's now the scapegoat if this goes wrong. I don't know anybody else's name being attached to it, so I feel a little bit for Ross Brawn if this doesn't work.
I think Ross Brawn should do Michael Massey's role.
I feel like he'd be wasted doing Michael Massey's role.
Oh yeah, that's true. What do you think he should do? What do you think Ross Brawn's role should be? What's his role now?
I don't know. That's what I was just trying to work out. Shall we look it up? I want to get it. I want to get it right. I don't want someone coming after us.
I think he's like some kind of I'd say it's like technical director of Formula One. But I don't want to say it. I don't want to say that in case I'm wrong and I get backlash.
Okay, according to Wikipedia, he is the managing director, motorsports, and technical director of the Formula One group.
Right. Okay. So that sounds like a very important role.
Yeah. Honestly, I like his name got mentioned with F1 presidency before, didn't it? So I don't know whether that's something he wants to do, but I feel like it's a job he could do really well.
100%.
I feel like he's got enough experience to know what the teams want, and he's worked with some of the biggest drivers in the world, so he knows what the drivers will want.
And he's created his own team as well.
Yeah, so he's run things from multiple perspectives. I think he understands what the sport wants and what the fans want. I think he's very well respected, so he absolutely could do that role if he wanted to. But yeah, I just hope that when all this is done, there isn't that little comment of, oh yeah, he's the one that we tried sprint quali with. Really, what if that does happen, every time I see that, I'm gonna be like, yeah, but at least it wasn't that. What did I call it?
The Eccleston idea was sprinkles and shit and shortcuts and all that.
What was that? That exclusion qualifying.
Elimination qualifying.
Elimination qualifying. That's the word I was looking for. That was so much worse than this.
Yeah.
At least in this way, we've had two races effectively.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously, if it does, it's not going to tarnish his reputation. I mean, he's a legend in F1, isn't he, as you say, with all the accolades and achievements. If it doesn't work, it's not going to I can't think of the word.
I mean,
spoil his. Yeah, that's what tarnish his legacy, is it? That's all the stuff he's done.
I seriously hope not.
Nah, I don't think it will.
Speaking of legacies and stuff, though, the sprint race did bring back the old wreaths that we saw in Yonder Year. I really liked that idea. I think we should just do that for the podium anyway. Well, I don't know why they went away.
What, instead of the trophies and the champagne?
Yeah, like it's a little cap and just put a wreath. Like back in the day.
Only for the winner or just second and third?
No, just for the winner.
Just for the winner.
Yeah, it's nice. It was a nice touch.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also, was it the trophy that got changed this year to be dedicated to Murray Walker?
Yeah, the ones for the actual main race. They had Murray Walker's little little face on them, on the
Yeah.
back on all of them. It says 1923 to 2021 because obviously he died in
Yeah. He
2021,
died in
didn't
March, didn't he? Yeah.
he? Yeah, and it was a
Um,
Silverstone layout with the Union flag in the middle, which was pretty sick. Best looking trophy I've seen so far this
yeah.
season. Maybe Walker would have loved that race.
I really wish that they named somewhere after Murray Walker if it's not already happened.
They need to name like a corner after. Change one of the corners. Change one of the first 5 corners.
Yeah. Yeah, why do we need village and farm and stuff, or
Farm and
chapel or
loop and
something like that?
Aintree.
Yeah.
Just get rid of Abbey or let's call it like Walker Curve or Aintree or yeah, just get rid of one of the first 5 corner names. Just rename them like the Walker Turn or something.
Yeah.
Or just Walker. But
Yeah.
or do you know the old start finish straight? You could name that the Murray Walker Straight because I don't think that has a name. It's just the old start
Just the
finish
old
straight.
start finishing it, yeah.
You've got Woodker and then you've got Cop, so you could just name that the Murray Walker Straight or something.
Yeah.
Because when they were racing, that's where most of the races have started from. That straight.
Mm.
So, but yeah, they need to do something.
Yeah, I think so. Weird seeing Hamilton on the Hamilton Straight, and in a lot of interviews, he's like, "It didn't even cross my mind," and I'm like, "I'm calling that out as BS. It must have at some point."
100%.
In practice, you just go, "Oh yeah, this is my straight now."
Yeah, I own this straight. This is my bit of track, bitches.
Yeah, admittedly, it
Not
probably was just a fleeting moment, but to say it didn't at all cross his mind, I can't see that because that is a massive honour that a still
100%.
racing driver gets anything named
part
after
of a
them.
track named after them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And the fact that he won on the Hamilton Straight as well. The fact that he won the race on the Hamilton Straight.
yeah,
It's mad.
yeah.
Did you see his helmet? His helmet was well cool. Changed it up. I liked it.
Yeah.
I preferred it.
Quite a few of them.
His
I
normal
feel
one.
like they changed up the helmets. Lando as well.
Lando's was a thank you to the NHS, I think, on it. I think it had like messages from like kids and COVID patients and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right. Before we wrap up, we I think.
Did we do predictions?
Well, here's a few things. One, I think we forgot predictions because Matt was around. Or if we actually did predictions, I've completely missed it when I was editing and making notes last time.
Yeah.
Secondly, at the start of this, I think we did race rating, but forgot best driver, worst driver.
Yeah.
So let's close with best driver, worst driver.
Absolutely.
And then do some predictions for
Hungaroring.
Is it Hungary next? That's what I'm trying to work out.
Yes,
Yeah, it is.
it is Hungary next.
Great, fantastic. Love
I will go first with best driver.
Okay.
Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Okay. Expected.
Because obviously, he'd have been up there anyway, fighting with Max if he hadn't crashed. But the fact that he got a 10-second penalty and still fought his way through the field and took most of the last 10 laps, he was taking his second out of Leclerc each time. And yeah, it's just Lewis Hamilton. I mean, I think if there's any other driver in his position, I don't think they'd have fought back for the win. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. What?
But obviously, he's got his. I'm giving him a 9.5.
Ooh. Almost perfect.
If he hadn't got the penalty, it would have been 10. But he got a penalty, so half a point off.
I'm going to give it to Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, that was going to be my second choice as well.
Yeah. I feel like he just did phenomenal things given the Ferrari. He was P4 in quali and then kept that for the sprint race. He beat Bottas off the line and could have quite easily cocked it up in Cops overtaking Hamilton after the crash. He didn't. He held Hamilton fairly well in that first stint before the pit stops.
What would you give him?
That's what I'm trying to work out. It's not quite a 10. But not in like a 9 or 9.5 for me. He's like He is solid effort.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I mean, he got lucky, but you also got to work on act on that luck, and he did.
Yeah.
What about your worst driver? What would you worst driver?
Well, I didn't really see that. I wasn't really paying attention to that. I was just paying attention to the front of the pack and how Lewis was getting on. I'd say I don't know. I'd probably go Vettel or something because obviously he did have that spin and he never really recovered from it. And then he retired. But as I say, most of the action was just focusing on the on the battle at the front. You saw a few overtakes in the midfield every now and then. But yeah, I'd probably go Vettel because he had that spin, and after he had that spin, he never really recovered, did he? And just went backwards. So
fair enough.
might be a bit controversial, but yeah, I will go Vettel.
All right, what's
give him a 5.5 / 6.
Okay.
Yeah. About you?
I am gonna go for Kimi Räikkönen. Yeah, we didn't see a lot of anyone in the bottom 10 actually.
Yeah.
The reason I'm giving it to Kimi is he had a sloppy incident with Checo. Was it Checo? When he spun, when he ended up spinning.
Vale.
Yeah, that was very sloppy. But also, another point with Perez earlier than this, I think he was actually fighting with Sergio, which he's well within his rights to do, but they're on completely different plans, so he's just slowed himself down as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think there's something that happened in a sprint race that I can't remember, but he should have backed out or something. And I remember thinking, at his experience level and his age, it's his 20th race at Silverstone. Like
most for any driver, that as well.
He should know better when to take which battles to fight, and that meme now of him in Netflix's Drive to Survive of saying it's just a hobby. It now feels like he is just driving it as a hobby, and he's not really caring about the actual racing and the team. It feels like now he is just driving because he can.
Yeah, he's just driving because he wants to.
Yeah,
and he enjoys it.
And
he's not there for the.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit tired of Kimi now. He's done a lot for the sport. Yes, he's a former world champion, and I'm sure Alfa love having him there.
Yeah.
But unless
he's funny for the memes as well.
Yeah, but unless he starts getting back, rule number one with driving is you drive professionally, and you drive the best you can and the best for your team.
You drive like it's your last drive.
Pretty
much.
I've not felt that from Kimi for about almost like a full year now. Like the end of last year, I was feeling it. The start of this year, I've been feeling it. I kind of, at this point in time, I hope he retires at the end of the season.
Really?
Yeah. I'm gonna give him a 3.
That's controversial.
Just to really ram it home. It might be controversial, but he is getting to the end of his career now. Giovinazzi's had 3 seasons there. Bring some new people in. Alfa is staying in the sport.
Like
yeah. I like Giovinazzi would be a great pairing, I think. Alfa have signed an extension to stay in the sport with Sauber, so it's going to be Alfa Romeo for a while now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, let's just.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's been announced. Let's just do that. One thing that didn't get announced, huh, Ollie? Huh? Yeah. Where's George going? Huh?
Yeah.
Come on. Do you see his his interview on Saturday where he was like, you know what? I'm definitely a Mercedes driver. I'm always going to be a Mercedes driver, so I'm probably going to end up at McLaren.
No, I didn't see that. Well, it's McLaren and Mercedes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see Russell and Norris together as teammates.
I want to see Lewis.
Whether that'll happen,
George, just to see.
I don't know. I'd love to see Lewis and George. I know Mercedes is a German team, but I'd love to see Lewis and George in an all-British team, like a McLaren. All-British teammates in an all-British team.
Yeah, that would be nice. But for now, that's not going to happen. Unless something really bad happens with Ricciardo's contract. I still see George going to Mercedes.
Yeah.
Anyway, predictions. Hungary. You know what? I'm going to write them down now as we do them. And then,
right, okay.
And then we won't forget. Come on. So, your quali results.
Yeah, Red Bull are good though, aren't they? Normally, they're hungry because it's high downforce. Ham the Leclerc.
So you're qualifying. You're saying Hamilton on pole,
Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc.
Verstappen, Leclerc.
Yeah,
Interesting. Um,
yours.
I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write yours down. I'm gonna say. Ooh, Verstappen pole. Hamilton second, Perez third.
Ooh,
I think
fair.
Ferraris will probably be up there. I don't see them jumping into the top three though.
You reckon like fourth and fifth,
I think
fifth and sixth or something.
yeah, they're going to be up there fighting. Definitely going to be in there with the McLarens, but
I'm gonna be bold with my race
okay.
prediction. Right, Hamilton
Yeah,
to get the dub, make it 100, and then it'll be 100. I like it'd be 101 and 100 then if it.
yeah. You'd need him not to
If
get
he did
poles.
yeah, yeah. So it'd be Hamilton to get number 100,
Mhm.
Verstappen, and then Norris.
Ooh, cheeky McLaren on the podium,
Yeah, and then Leclerc fourth.
and then Leclerc. I'm going to write that down. Leclerc fourth. I'm going to say Verstappen win. I'm going to say. I'm going to go bold. Perez second, Hamilton third.
Ooh.
I don't want that to be the results, but I feel like the Red Bulls are going to go aggressive, jump Hamilton at the start, and then back him up and make sure he can't get past.
Yeah, but look what happened last time, man.
Yeah, but who knows, mate? Who knows?
Oh, you just wrote it down.
I've just wrote it down, so it's there. It's confined to the history books, and you know what? I'm going to take some comfort in the fact that in Channel 4 coverage, DC did at one point say that Norris could win this race.
Yeah, he said that was on the Sky Sports for as well. Imagine the scenes if Norris had won that race.
Yeah, he just didn't have
I mean,
the
it's
pace.
scenes anyway with Hamilton, but
Yeah.
it'd be even bigger scenes if Norris had won, or if he'd have got to the podium, double British podium.
Yeah, that's not happened in a while since DC and Eddie Irvine, I think.
What, double British podium?
Yeah, we've not had two on the podium for a long time. In
We
Britain,
need it
in
to
Britain,
happen this
yeah.
year. Oh, in Britain.
In Britain,
I was
sorry,
gonna
yeah,
say.
yeah. I was gonna say,
Right.
yeah. Double British podiums happened since, but
I was gonna say. What the hell?
Right. Well, I think that is everything. I've timed this right so that a big fly just came into my room right as we're wrapping up. Brilliant. Thank you everybody for listening to this week's episode. Make sure to check us out on social media at IO Sportscast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Nearly forgot it then. Make sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell on YouTube so you know when the next episode goes out. And also hit that follow button for Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other podcast providers that we're on. Ollie, has been a genuine pleasure here for the British Grand Prix.
As per usual.
Thanks all for listening. Goodbye.
See ya.